So, good day everyone. I am Krista K.R. Espayos, and I am the reporter of Lesson 20, which is the discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, or SOGIE in the Philippines. So, here are our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to understand the issues on human rights violation and discrimination on the basis of SOGIE, understand the impact of human rights and violation and discrimination to the Filipino society, and formulate activities and programs to address these human rights violation and discrimination on the basis of SOGIE. So before we formally proceed to our main discussion on this lesson, let's have first our definition of terms. So first, SOGIE. So it is an acronym for sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, aspects of gender of person which must be considered and given attention. Next, Anti-Discrimination Bill. It is a proposed legislation before the Philippine Congress intended to prevent various economic and public accommodation related acts of discrimination against people based on their SOGIE. So in this lesson, let's talk about first the universal policy. So, International Covenant on the Civil and Political Rights. Articles 2, 3, and 26 of the Convention provide for the respect, equality, and non-discrimination of all individuals on the grounds of inter alia, race, color, and sex. So, Tunin v. Australia in 1994. So, in the landmark decision of Tunin v. Australia in 1994, it is found that only the reference to sex in Articles 2 and 26 must be taken to include sexual orientation, but also that laws which criminalize consensual homosexual acts expressly violate the privacy protection of the law. Next, the national and local policies. LGUs from different cities all over the Philippines have been proactive in passing and filing city ordinances banning LGBT discrimination. So there are places in the Philippines that passing and filing ordinances which bans the LGBT discrimination. Next, anti-discrimination bill is still pending before the Congress. So, Anti-Discrimination Bill, or ADB, also known as Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity, is still pending before the Philippine Congress and thus has not yet passed into law yet. Next, the Anti-Discrimination in Employment was enacted in 2004 and LGBT-friendly provisions are supplemented in the Quezon City. Not only in the Quezon City, but also in Albay Province and Bacolod City. So, Albay Province and Bacolod City passed an anti-discrimination ordinance. Also, the Angeles City. So, Angeles City also not only passed an anti-discrimination legislation, but created a gay rights desk as well. So, next, House of Representative Raymond Palatino of Kabataan Party List filed House Resolution number 1333 seeks to investigate prejudicial, discriminatory, and unjust practices and policies against LGBT students implemented and tolerated in school. So, a resolution directing an appropriate committee to conduct an investigation in aid of legislation into prejudicial, discriminatory, and unjust practices and policies against lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders implemented and tolerated in educational institutions with a view to ensure full respect for the rights of all students regardless of their sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. So next, in May 2012, the DepEd Order number 40, or also known as the DepEd Child Protection Policy, this is to guarantee the protection of children in schools from any form of violence, abuse, or exploitation regardless of sexual orientation and gender identity. So in school, there's bullying and discrimination to LGBT persons. But the school is responsible for keeping them safe from harm and abuse. The school should create a safe learning environment, identify pupils who are suffering or at risk of harm, and take suitable action. Okay, so next let's talk about the effect of discrimination in society. So first let's talk about the schools. So being young and not confronting to the gender roles assigned to one sex increases the risk of discrimination and abuse for LGBT persons. So this victimization is aggravated by the absence of support mechanisms and school policies addressing this concern, as well as the failure of schools to safeguard students from being abused by other students, staff, administrators, and teachers. So the discrimination of LGBT students faced in schools not only violates the right to be free from discrimination, but prevent these individuals from the enjoyment of the numerous other rights. So in schools, naman dyan mga bullying, no? Especially to those mga gays, lesbian, mga LGBT people. They are being discriminated by their classmates, by other students, by their teachers, or other people in the school. So next, what is homophobia? So it is the stigma and prejudice toward LGBT persons. So it encompasses a range of negative attitudes and feelings toward homosexuality or people who are identified or perceived as being lesbian, gay, or bisexual. It also observable in critical and hostile behavior such as discrimination and violence on the basis of sexual orientations that are non-heterosexual. So homophobia is very present within the society that creates a dangerous climate of hostility toward LGBT people. So next, family. So the discrimination is not only seen in schools but also to one's own family. So LGBT youth are often targeted by parents who, upon discovering their child's sexual orientation or gender identity, feel compelled to inflict physical harm on them out of frustration or in attempt to prevent their child from expressing their sexuality. There are families man jud no nga dili nila dawat nga na ay gay, lesbian, or LGBT person sa ilang family. So as LGBT person, kung kita ang nasa ilahang posisyon, sakit nga dili pa ta dawat sa society, dili pa ta dawat sa atong own family. So kanang because of this family's frustration, these people, the LGBTs are likely to attempt suicide, depression, and also likely to use illegal drugs because of discrimination, and they feel that they are not part of the society. They are being excluded, and they feel that they are being neglected by their own family. So next is the discrimination by the Catholic Church. So the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP, and Episcopal Commission on Family and Life, or ECFL, has been frequently demanding Congress for the removal of sex, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity in the comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinances filed in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. So first, it will create problems regarding ethics, marriage, the family, and the religious freedom. Next is the difference in sex or gender does not belong to the same level as the difference in race, color, religion, or ethnicity. So, in our own religion, dili man jud pwede laki to laki, bayi to bayi. So, usually, bayi to laki raman jud. So, that's what kanang gibelieve sa ato ang religion. Next, the participation of members of LGBTQ+ in the public life. Article 25 of the Convention provides for the right of each citizen to participate in public affairs, to vote, and to have the equal access to public service in the country. These people, the LGBTs, are also part of our society, but some people discriminate them or make them feel that they are not belong. But we can't deny the fact that ang mga LGBT is very creative, talented, and active sa atong community. Diba? Kabantay mo, usually sa atong community, ang mga servant leaders kay gays. Diba? So, sadya kaayo ang barangay nato kung naipista kay sila dyan mangulo sa atong mga kalingawan, sila'y mag-organize, sila'y mo-manage para malingaw ang atong community. So, it is very kanang makahappy lang na naay mga gays, mga LGBT sa atong community kay they are so kanang ma-effort jud, diba? So, next, let's talk about the discrimination in the military. So, the additional conditions required from gay, lesbian, and bisexual applicants and cadets demonstrate lingering prejudices and negative stereotypes toward LGBT person. The military's apparent strict adherence exclusive toward heterosexes, gender binary, like masculine and feminine, roles discriminate against those that fall short this standard and considered as the benchmark of what constitutes being decent, proper, and respectful. So, kanang kung musulod kag military, if you are LGBT or if you are gay or lesbian, kay stereotype ka nga mahina, like inana nga hinay ka, anang dili nini mo kaya, like iina na ba kay dili kay mo usually manggod kung musulod kag military kay dapat kusgan ka or masculine jud ka, like kanang kusgan ka dayon kanang decent o proper. And if you are part of the LGBT nya musulod kag military, usually they receive discrimination by others. So, the generalized stereotyping of LGBT persons and the misconception that a person's sexual orientations defines gender expression are most evident on the common position of the APF, PNP, PMA towards gay and effeminate behavior. So, imagine no, unsa ka grabe ang discrimination sa atong society towards LGBT people. So, they cannot freely express themselves in our own society. Kay, kung tagalihok nila, kay discriminate by others, i-discriminate sila, or i-bully sila by others. At the end of my discussion on the lesson 20, which is the discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, or SOGIE in the Philippines. So if you have questions or clarification, just comment on the Google Classroom if I posted this video. So thank you for watching and listening on my recorded discussion. I hope you learned something from it. Amping and God bless. Bye-bye.